According to witnesses, the abandoned truck did not have its hazard lights on, and the driver of the SUV likely didn't even see the truck until it was too late to brake. Michael Tolley lived right here in this neighborhood, and police say that he stayed close to home with his crimes, breaking into 17 houses, all within 1 mile of this location. 2 years that you mentioned, that would be the max. It is quite possible that she could only get 9 months behind bars. Go ahead and take a look behind me. As you can see, state troopers are placed at nearly every street leading into the blast zone area. That, of course, is for safety reasons, but also we are hearing reports of looting in the area. Ellen Matthew Champagne has been booked on 2 counts of first-degree murder and 2 counts of concealment of dead bodies. And it all stems from what court records say happened in this apartment complex more than a year and a half ago. Kirby was a married mother of 4 children. Her husband tells me she loved the outdoors, and she often rode her bike through these hills of the Tonto National Forest, where she was killed during her morning ride yesterday. There were 2 points of entry into this apartment. The boyfriend actually kicked his way in. You can see his footprint right there on the door. He then made his way over to the sliding glass door where he let his accomplice in. Mesa police tell me the man they believe killed this woman is in the hospital with injuries of his own. I also spoke with 2 people who live here on this street who tried to save that woman's life. Search and rescue efforts have ended here in West Texas as the investigation into the cause of the fire and explosion at the fertilizer plant begins. All of this as residents band together to recover and rebuild.
Everybody here knows everybody. It's like one big family.
And there's good reason for that. Like most residents of West Texas, Mary Berger has lived here her entire life. Generations of families have called this predominantly Czechoslovakian community home since the late 1800s.
Everybody's willing to help everybody, whether they know them or not. I mean, it's just, we're just all here to help each other.
Mental health experts say that community mindset in a town of only about 2,600 people will help West adapt to dramatic life changes, the death and destruction caused by the fertilizer plant explosion.
They go to church together, they go to school together, they shop together, they've lived together, many of them for several generations. And so that means there's probably going to be really good community support within the community itself.
Dr. Bill Hoy is a professor specializing in grief and trauma at Baylor University in Waco, just south of West.
Traumatic grief seems to be best adapted to when you have a really good community around you. In a large city, usually we're pretty disconnected from our neighbors. We don't know who they are in the apartment next or the house next door.
Dr. Hoy says this catastrophic event will eventually become part of West's story, but it won't define the town.
Part of that narrative will become how we coped, how we received this marvelous support from people all around the country.
Those who live and work in this rural community couldn't agree more.
There's values here. You'll see West. West is going to come back stronger and bigger than ever. That's what these people do.
Rebuilding and recovery, of course, takes money, and you can make a donation at any Wells Fargo bank mentioning West Texas Relief. In West Texas, Rebecca Thomas, CBS 5 News. Well, Jason, this started in the middle of the night as most of the people around here were sleeping. Neighbors tell me that the back and forth shooting between police and the suspect was off and on for about an hour.
So then we hear shots, like at least 30 of them. Shots coming from everywhere. I'm like, should we duck?
Latae Ramirez and her family came home around 1 o'clock Saturday morning to a shootout several doors down.
At his house, it was like about 4 different cops all around his house with guns. We seen them like all the way down on the floor with guns aiming at him. I'm like, oh, it's about to go down. Everybody get in the house. It's about to go down.
Phoenix police responded to a domestic disturbance call at a home near 81st Avenue and Gibson, where a woman told officers her boyfriend was inside and suicidal. Soon after, they say the man opened fire. Officers and the woman took cover as the man exchanged shots with police. Police say the man also took aim at homes in front and back of his house.
At some point, he was even firing through the ceiling of his own house. The officer could see that because they could see the tiles being broken up on top.
Caught in the crossfire, the freelance photographer who shot this video.
Oh man, I'm being shot at right now.
He ran to safety behind a mailbox, along with a neighbor who came out to see what was going on.
We heard bullets, like an automatic bullets, just flying over our head. You can just hear them whispering by left and right.
After about a 1-hour gun battle, police say the man walked out of his front door and again shot at officers. They returned fire, killing him.
When it came to an end, I was just like so happy. We heard silence, and then she started singing, and I was like, no, silence is very nice. Don't sing.
Well, I'm told that some of the surrounding homes do have bullet holes, which is why, partly why anyway, that detectives are still on scene combing through this neighborhood. The good news here, none of the residents were hurt. I am told that one officer suffered a minor injury to his hand, possibly from shattered glass or possibly bullet fragments. At this time, police have not released the suspect's name or the type of gun he used, although they do suspect it was some sort of rifle. Reporting live in Phoenix, Rebecca Thomas, CBS 5 News. Patrick King told detectives he just had a feeling that his boss, Fred Nadler, was going to ask him to help him kill his wife, who'd recently filed for divorce. So when Nadler requested a secret meeting, he went, but he brought along a tape recorder ready to roll. And as you're about to hear, it captured a deadly plot.
I've got a super secret situation I want to discuss with you.
That was Fred Nadler's segue into discussing a side job he had for his employee Patrick King at Arizona Shower Door.
I've got $10,000 I was going to give you just right up front.
The super secret task?
Go dig a hole in the desert somewhere.
And get rid of Nadler's wife's car.
Driving it somewhere where there is, a lot of Mexicans or something, a ghetto area. Oh, so somebody will take it?
Nadler also tells King to remove the license plate and disable the car's GPS system. As for that hole King was to dig,
all you have to do, I will give you a bundle to put in that hole. Okay. I'm not telling you what's going to be in the bundle, be wrapped in a blanket or a sheet or something. Okay.
King then baits Nadler to tell him more.
Libya's filed for divorce. She wants $2.3 million. Holy crap.
Nadler continues to spill, complaining to King his wife is now carrying on a separate life of her own.
I don't know what she does. And maybe she got a boyfriend somewhere. You'll have to wear gloves or fingerprints.
Returning to the task at hand, Nadler tells King he wants it done soon.
Well, what I was trying to do is get this out of the way before she spends more time with her attorney.
King plays along, discussing the different desert areas he'd scout and how deep he'd dig that hole.
Well, there's a little something for, a little starter there. Okay. Wow, $1,000. I've never seen that like that. Well, I got to be able to trust you because I don't want to go to jail for the rest of my life either.
Well, King immediately turned that tape and the $1,000 that Nadler gave him over to police. That was in January of 2012, and Nadler has been behind bars since then, awaiting trial. Well, first, those who attended the vigil really wanted to express their sorrow over the loss of life and for all of those who were hurt in the attack, but they stress terror has no religion.
We want to bring attention to the victims and give them justice by showing them that the victims and their families do have people across the country and across the world who are really thinking about them.
Nikta Hamidi with the Council of American Islamic Relations Arizona chapter and Muslim Leaders of America organized Sunday's interfaith vigil at ASU in honor of the victims of the Boston Marathon bombings.
Anyone who shares that sympathy for what's going on right now or who just wants to raise awareness about these acts of terror that are occurring all across the world, I think a lot of people here come here with a heavy heart.
About 100 people came to the candlelight vigil to express their grief and to remind everyone while the Boston Marathon bombing suspects are Muslim, they're not a true representation of Islam.
The person that did this has religious and mental issues. Do you know what I mean? Because if they were strict on their religion, they would know that this isn't the way to go about doing things. A lot more good people than there are bad people. And
Sayef Abdullah with Muslim Leaders of America says even blaming a radical faction of a religion would be missing the mark.
Radicalism implies as if they got it from the religion, but the religion does not promote or ask for violence. So it has nothing to do with the religion. It's outside of the religion.
That sentiment echoed by everyone at the vigil.
Just like Catholics wouldn't be responsible for any pedophilia that might happen in the Catholic Church.
Every religion has their nut jobs, I guess.
Bottom line, they say good in any human category will always trump evil.
Vigils like this, I believe they send a message to anyone who wants to perpetrate an act of evil. And that message is, you are the minority. The good people outnumber you, and we always will.
The Council of American Islamic Relations, or CARE, holds many interfaith events throughout the year. And to learn more, we've linked their website to ours. Just go to CBS5AZ.com. Back to you.
Wow. Girls, get back. Get back.
Carly Gomez caught Friday morning's storm in Mesa on her cell phone camera, documenting torrential rain and whipping wind.
I'm from southern Minnesota, so I'm used to tornadoes, straight line winds, and all of that stuff. So when this started happening, that's exactly what it seemed like to me. And I almost wanted to grab the girls and go run into the bathroom because I didn't know what was going on at this point.
Before we caught up with Gomez today, her neighbor actually tipped us off to damage in the area by tweeting us a photo of this.
And I came out and saw somebody's going to have a bad day.
As landscaping crews worked to remove the downed tree from this car, there were others waiting to be hauled away. The storm snapped trees like twigs in the area of Power and Main. It also dumped enough rain to force the evacuation of a nearby nursing home. 50 residents of Mikasa Nursing Center had to be moved to another building after 1 to 2 inches of water flooded their units. Mesa Fire sandbagged the area to prevent more water from rushing in while a restoration crew worked to dry the units out. Now, that incredible storm video that we showed you earlier where the woman caught it on camera, that is possibly the result of a microburst. But of course, that will take the National Weather Service to come out and make an official documentation on that. Reporting live in Mesa, Rebecca Thomas, CBS 5 News.